Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. A selection of prisoners at the Auschwitz concentration camp in 1944 during the Holocaust. In the photograph, Hungarian Jews are being separated to be sent to the gas chambers. A Russian spy smiling as he is executed in Finland in 1937. The spy, seemingly keeping his composure and even smiling in his final moments, reflects the emotional complexity of an extreme situation. In November 1963, Jack Ruby, a nightclub owner, shot Lee Harvey Oswald, the man accused of assassinating President John F. Kennedy. A German communist being executed in Munich in 1919, during the period of political instability that followed World War I. Soldiers of the Viet Minh celebrate after taking control of a French base. In the background, the burning wreckage of the captured structure can be seen. This scene was captured in 1949 during the First Indochina War, a conflict that lasted from 1946 to 1954. During the Middle Ages, women who talked too much could be forced to wear a metal device attached to their face. Known as the bridle or silence mask, this object was used as a form of public punishment, typically imposed by local authorities with the husband's approval. People react in shock as they watch the launch of the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1986. The event took place in Florida and was broadcast live across the country. The mission was a milestone for the space program, but suffered a failure shortly after takeoff. A German bomb with a message intended for Winston Churchill in 1940. During World War II, the United Kingdom was the target of an intense bombing campaign by the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force. Joseph Goebbels, the German Minister of Propaganda, with a look of hate and anger upon discovering that the photographer was of Jewish descent. Robert Capa's image captures the treatment of French women suspected of collaborating with the Nazis during the occupation in World War II after the liberation of France in 1944. Pope John Paul II, meeting with Mehmet Ali Agca, the man who attempted to assassinate him in 1981. The historic meeting took place in 1983, 2 years after Agca shot the Pope in St. Peter's Square in Rome. A young girl working in a cotton factory in 1908, reflecting the harsh working conditions faced by children during the Industrial Revolution. Girls from the League of German Girls, Bund Deutscher Mädel, and boys from the Hitler Youth are seen together in 1933 in Germany. In 1936, Ethiopian peasants pay homage to a poster of Benito Mussolini during the Italian fascist regime's invasion of Ethiopia. Workers installing a wooden water pipeline in Idaho in 1891. During this period, many rural and growing areas in the United States relied on makeshift plumbing systems to supply drinking water to communities. Headquarters of the Italian Fascist Party, led by Benito Mussolini, captured around 1930. The building, located in Rome, displayed flags and symbols used by the regime, which controlled Italy from 1922 to 1943. The infamous gangster Al Capone gets an autograph for his son from Gabby Hartnett, a player for the Chicago Cubs, around 1931. Tens of thousands of East Germans gather in protest against the government of the German Democratic Republic in East Berlin in 1989. These protests gained momentum throughout the year and were decisive in weakening the regime. Diego Frazão Torquato, a 12-year-old boy, is pictured playing the violin at his teacher's funeral. The teacher, who had a profound impact on Diego's life, was key in helping him escape poverty and violence through music. In 1978, in Skokie, Illinois, a small group organized a protest against a demonstration planned by supporters of extremist ideologies. The group advocated for freedom of speech with support from the American Civil Liberties Union. The intact seal of Tutankhamun, discovered in 1922, remained undisturbed for 3,245 years. The image captures the historic moment when archaeologist Howard Carter and his team broke the seal of the tomb of the Egyptian pharaoh, an event that captivated the world. An American soldier saying goodbye with a final kiss as he is sent to Egypt in 1963. Hans Schmidt, a Catholic priest who emigrated from Germany to the United States, was photographed shortly before becoming a nationally known figure in 1913. A group of Italian immigrants waits in the waiting room of the train station at Ellis Island in 1905. After arriving in the United States through the main immigration entry point of the time, many went on to travel to different regions of the country. Gold miners in 1898, captured while working during the gold rush. During this period, many men and women moved to areas like Klondike and other parts of the West in search of fortune. An innovative way to deal with flooding in Paris in 1924. During a major flood in the city, citizens used chairs to form a line that helped them cross the flooded areas safely. A soldier of the Red Army holds a baby goat during World War II. This scene took place between 1941 and 1945, during which millions of Soviets participated in the conflict against the Axis forces. An inflatable tank is positioned as a part of an Allied deception operation in England in 1945. These fake devices were used to confuse German forces about the real plans before the Normandy landings. Two presidents, likely Harry S. Truman and Franklin D. Roosevelt, in a convertible car during a public event. The Antarctica snow cruiser from 1940 was an innovative attempt to create a vehicle capable of exploring the vast and frozen landscapes of Antarctica. Salvador Dalí, the famous surrealist painter, is pictured in a peculiar scene walking with his pet, an anteater. Dalí was known for his eccentric style, both in his art and personal life, and his love for unusual animals. Maud Odell was one of the first women to become a taxi driver in New York in 1923. She defied the social norms of the time when most taxi drivers were male, and paved the way for other women in the transportation industry. A massive United States flag formed by sailors in Illinois in 1917. During this period, the United States was entering World War I, and the image symbolizes the patriotism and spirit of unity of the nation. Workers crossed the Sutlej River in India using boats made of inflated ox hide in 1908. This traditional technique allowed people and goods to be transported over long distances, even in areas without bridges or modern infrastructure. A woman wearing pants as she prepares for a bicycle ride in 1897. At the time, women typically wore long and uncomfortable dresses, and wearing pants for outdoor activities like cycling was considered unusual. Winston Churchill asking for a light from a Frenchman in 1944. The scene, captured during World War II, reflects the camaraderie and closeness between the Allies during the toughest times of the war. A traditional outfit around 100 years old, preserved with historical details from the time. Clothing like this reflects the styles and materials used in the early 20th century, revealing cultural, social, and even economic aspects of the period. In September 1918, American soldiers recovering from injuries spent time fishing and swimming near the walls of an old castle in France. A family stands in front of their motorhome in the United States during the 1920s. The vehicle, equipped with a small house on wheels, reflects the beginning of the mobile home concept in the United States, which would become popular in later decades. Painters working on the Eiffel Tower in 1932. The iconic Parisian monument, which is constantly maintained and repainted, was being cared for by a team of specialized workers. A young woman in London in 1969, captured in an urban scene. She stands on the sidewalk, wearing a short dress and high heels, while the cityscape in the background reveals the typical bustle of the 60s. The moment when the Statue of Liberty appears to be in the background of a house in the United States in 1930. A family in their log cabin home in West Virginia around 1900. The house, simple and made from natural materials like wood, reflects the rural lifestyle of the time. A family posing next to their 1918 Ford Model T. The Ford Model T, also known as Tin Lizzie, was one of the most important cars in automotive history, popularizing the automobile and making it affordable. In 1956, IBM transported one of the first 5-megabyte hard drives, a significant achievement for technology at the time. The IBM 305 RAMAC, released that year, was the first storage system to use magnetic disks and marked the beginning of the hard drive era. Workers installing a wooden water pipeline in Idaho in 1891. During this period, many rural and growing areas in the United States relied on makeshift plumbing systems to supply drinking water to communities. In the photo during the 50th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg, Union and Confederate veterans decided to shake hands around 1913. This symbolic gesture of reconciliation took place during a veterans gathering at the site of the famous Civil War battle. The first international match at Wimbledon held in 1883. This event marked an important milestone in the history of the tennis tournament, which began to gain global recognition. An oasis in Giza in 1917. Giza, located in Egypt, is famous for its pyramids and the Great Sphinx, but it is also surrounded by desert landscapes. Promotional photo of the show The French Chef, featuring Julia Child in 1964. The production was one of the first to teach French cooking to the American public via television. Two Maikos chat on a street in Kyoto, Japan in 1946. Maikos are geisha apprentices known for their traditional clothing, elaborate hairstyles, and artistic skills. An early version of Ronald McDonald stands next to a baby. Ronald McDonald, the famous mascot of McDonald's, was introduced in the 1960s with a different look than what we know today. The founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Harlan Sanders, opens a new restaurant near Fort Campbell in Nashville in 1966. At this time, Sanders was expanding his fast food business, which would become a global icon. A vintage Coca-Cola machine with prices of 6 cents per bottle from the 1950s. This machine, commonly found in public places such as parks and diners, reflects the popularization of Coca-Cola during the mid-20th century. The McDonald brothers, Dick and Maurice, are seen in the photo with the first McDonald's in San Bernardino, California in 1948. This was the starting point for the fast food empire that would eventually become one of the largest restaurant chains in the world. Walt Disney proudly displaying the map of his first theme park, called Disneyland, in 1955. In the photo, Walt Disney points to the drawing representing his vision for the park, which would soon become a cultural landmark. Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, both smiling and walking together in the White House garden as they stroll with a dog. The New York Stock Exchange in 1908. This building, located on Wall Street, is one of the most iconic landmarks in the city and the global financial system. A girl washing her feet in a river in 1890. This simple, everyday moment reflects the lifestyle practices of the time, especially in rural areas. A video game championship held in 1980. This was a significant year for the video game industry, as games like Pac-Man and Space Invaders were at the peak of their popularity. Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, is seen enjoying a fun moment with his grandchildren in the snow in 1960. A milkman delivering milk in London in 1962 while using skis. This peculiar moment reflects the harsh weather conditions the city faced during the winter of 1962 to 1963, when snow covered the streets of London. The wooden floor revealed after the removal of the old carpets in a newly acquired home. A green modular sectional sofa typical of the 1970s in a living room. The design of this sofa reflects the aesthetic of the era, with straight lines and vibrant colors, characteristics of the furniture in the 70s modern design movement. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.